Hey, what is up guys? I still don't have a consistent intro, and today we're going to be talking about my ban history. So I've been a Hypixel player for a very long time, since the year it was released back in 2013, and that is actually when this story is going to begin because I'm going to be talking about all my bans in chronological order. So although it is true that I logged on in 2013 for the first time, I only really did that because my friend wanted to play Blitz SG with me. I played it, didn't really enjoy it that much, and pretty much never came on again. That being said, I did still play Minecraft a ton. It's been my favorite game for years, and I've been through a lot of servers, and at the time, I was really into this very small faction server called OneCraft. Or at least I think that's what it was called. Now the funny thing about this server is that I never really liked factions. To be honest, I don't know why I played on that server so much. One of my IRL friends sort of got me into it, and then I met a lot of cool people there too, one of who I still talk to this very day. Shout out to Liam if you're watching this. In 2013, I would have been either 12 or 13, so this server was looking for staff and I applied. They were a bit skeptical because you had to be about 14 to apply for staff, and because I wrote that I was 13 or so, they were obviously like, we're gonna have to deny you for now, to which I told them that it was a typo, and I got away with it. 13-year-old me was now staff on this faction server, and life was good. By the way, this was so far back in the day that the way I applied was just to write a book and quill and then throw it into a hopper. I honestly don't know how long I had been staff, but eventually I was probably either like senior helper or moderator around there. And to get the next promotion that I wanted, the owner said that I would have to bring on enough players, because they used this sort of like vouch/verify system where if a new player joined and they used your IGN with a command, then it would give you like a point or whatever, and that's how they tracked how many new players you would bring on. So obviously I didn't really have too many IRL friends who played Minecraft, and all my sort of online friends at the time were already players of that server, so I chose the next logical step. I went to a very popular server that I thought I didn't like and I absolutely never played on. Hypixel. Pretty much I got on, and this was back in the day where there was no like chat filter or anything, and it was just mods who were in control of all of that, and I went and basically just stood in like the old arcade lobby and advertised for the faction server, put the IP in chat, said join this, and then typed the command with my username in it, and you would get rewards in exchange. I honestly don't know how long I was on the server for, like advertising, but I imagine it probably didn't take too long before I got permanently banned. And yes, that's right, permanently. And before you guys ask, honestly, I have no idea whether or not I got that promotion. I can't remember for the life of me. So time went by and I was banned from Hypixel, so I mained all sorts of other servers like the Hive, Overcast Network, and a few other smaller servers similar to OneCraft. Life was good until eventually in around 2015 to maybe early 2016, I was over at my friend's house, the same guy who had got me into OneCraft. He was like, let's play Hypixel. Oh yeah, I forgot, you were banned because of that one time. And that kind of sucked because him and his brother were playing Skywars, and obviously I just kind of had to watch. I finally decided that, okay, I guess I should just appeal. I pretty much just made stuff up and said I wasn't given adequate warning and the rules were not very clear back in the day, which to be fair, I'm pretty sure they weren't. And there wasn't any sort of warning either. I was just permanently banned. So although I was kind of stretching, I mean, I wasn't lying, amazingly, that actually got me unbanned. Looking back on it now, that's actually extremely lucky because generally, if your first appeal isn't accepted, they don't accept any other appeals. So the fact that I got unbanned first try off of just saying I wasn't given proper warning is kind of amazing. And then yeah, I got to play Skywars with my friends. And all was good. Fast forward a year or two, around then I had finally sort of gotten into being able to like use Forge. Clients like Badlion or Cheatbreaker weren't quite around yet, so pretty much everyone used Forge, with the regular sort of mods like Optifine, maybe a CPS mod, 5zig, that sort of thing, all within the rules. And one day I found myself watching a sort of mods folder release type of video, whatever it is, and I was like, oh, this looks cool, I'm gonna add these to my mods folder. So I did, and I log on to Hypixel, and the moment I log on, I get banned for a week for modifications that are not allowed. So obviously, I'm like, oh, damn, okay, that sucks. One of the mods I just added was not allowed, and they like instantly detected it somehow that I was using one of these mods, so I'll just remove them and I'll wait out the week. Luckily, it's only a week. It's not really that big of a deal, but what did suck is that was the day they released Sky Clash. For those who don't know, Sky Clash was a now removed minigame that was sort of similar to Sky Wars. It was basically called Skywars 2. So while all my friends were having fun with the release of Skyclash, for technical reasons, I won't say I necessarily ban-evaded. However, there may have been an account playing on my computer who acted very much like me. Now, the funny thing about that, the reason my ban was only a week is because it was a forum report. This was back when you could report hackers on the forums before they just let Watchdog take care of everything. And forum reports were actually really easy to turn over and appeal. But I didn't learn about this until a couple years later when someone mentioned that the F tag in your ban basically meant that it was from the forums. So like I said, I just thought that they detected one of the brand new mods I had just put on. So I never bothered appealing it, which does sort of suck. I probably could have gotten unbanned, or at the very least, I wouldn't have looked so guilty, quote unquote. People always say that if you get banned, even if you know you have no chance of getting unbanned, you should at least appeal it so that it's not just admitting that you were in fact cheating. Anyways, 4 years go by with no problems. Up until this point, it's just been the permanent ban that lasted a couple years and the week-long ban. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I started playing Quakecraft around September of 2019. And I played quite a bit, and that lasted all the way up until April of last year, 2020. I think it was around the time when quarantine first started. I don't remember exactly the situation, but Quakecraft was the only game I had played in like the past couple days on the server. I'm playing with a couple in-game friends, and they both ask me if I can screen share so they can see me play. Obviously, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And I play a couple games, and then maybe like 2 or 3 games in while I'm screen sharing to these guys, I get Watchdog banned. I can actually put the clip in right now. I have the entire 5 minutes leading up to my ban recorded. I'll just put in the game itself that I got banned in. That was kind of an awkward Discord call after that moment. Although I had been banned already a couple times, because this was my first Watchdog ban, it only lasted a month. And I mean, I say only a month, but really a month, especially during when quarantine first started, that really did hurt. I tried appealing this one on the forums, and they denied it instantly, as they do with all Watchdog bans, unfortunately. So I asked around, and people said, well, you could try to email support and see if they'd actually, look over it with a human. The proof that I wasn't hacking that I included in my appeal still had 0 views, so obviously they hadn't looked at it. So I contacted them through their website, and they didn't get back to me until 2 months after I was already unbanned, and all they said was to appeal on the forums. Thanks, support team. So, I hadn't been banned for 4 years, and then I got hit with a Watchdog ban for a month. That sucks. But like I said before, I'm no ban evader. I would absolutely never break the Hypixel rules. However, there may have been an account that was playing on my very computer that played very similarly to me. So the next day I was playing on that, just kind of messing around, trying to get it up to have decent-ish stats, and less than 24 hours later, I get a second Watchdog ban, also for a month. So at this point, I'm obviously like, okay, what is going on? It's either something's gone wrong with this current version of Watchdog that they're running, or the current version of Badlion client that they're running, because at that point, I was still using Badlion. I get super paranoid, stop using Badlion, and I'm like, bruh, what do I do? And I learned that alongside the second account being banned, another one of my friends who also mains Quakecraft got banned at the exact same time. And I asked him, he also used Badlion, and it was also a Watchdog ban. So that was 3 players, all using Badlion, all playing Quakecraft, who had been banned within a 24-hour period. So at this point, I was like, okay, well, we're obviously innocent, but there's not really anything I can do. I can tweet about it on Twitter, but I don't really want to tag any admins, because that would just make them mad at me. Generally, they're not known to take super kindly to people who just spam them about their bans on Twitter and that kind of thing. I've already I've already emailed support. There's not really anything I can do. So at this point, there's a third account that's being played on my computer. Don't worry about it. I swear, guys, it's not ban evading. It just happened to play and talk exactly like me, okay? So I was randomly playing Quake, and an admin joins the game that I'm in. And right away, I'm like, oh my god, wait, this is my only chance. The game starts and I furiously start typing to make sure that he paid attention and actually listened to what I had to say. I kind of made it sound like it was a bigger problem than it really is. I sort of typed up something along of, hey, just so you're aware, quite a few Quakecraft mains have been banned while playing Quake in the past 24 hours. Do you think you could look into it? He didn't respond at first, and then later on he said, well, there's not really much I can do because using Badlion doesn't necessarily prove that you're legit. And I'm like, okay, well, at least he responded. I won't bother him about it anymore. That's fine. And I thought that was the end of it. There goes my last chance. It's gone. And then I'm playing in call with some friends later. We're just kind of messing around in lobby when suddenly the admin DMs me on Hypixel. And he says, could you get me a list of players who have been banned recently? And I'm like, no way, guys. So I told him that he messaged me, and now we're all kind of freaking out like, oh, no way, you could actually get unbanned. So I give the account names, myself, Rackles, obviously, the other account that is most definitely not me, and my third friend who was also banned for playing Quake. And he says, okay, I'll look into it. It was pretty late at night at that point, so we did stay up a little while later, but eventually I just said, well, okay, I have to go to bed. So we all left. I slept, and the next day I woke up, tried to log on with the main, and I was still banned. However, later in that day, the account that may or may not be me was playing on Hypixel, and the admin messages me again. He basically says, okay, yeah, I was able to confirm that all 3 of your bans were false. And I was like, oh my god, it actually happened. What are the chances? To put this into perspective on how ridiculously lucky this is, first of all, think about how many admins you've run into during actual gameplay. Chances are you've probably never even seen one in-game. Now, to add more onto that, headshots were added into Quakecraft in 2017, which means that you can determine how much a player has played since then based on how many headshots they have. For example, there's leaderboard players or players with hundreds of thousands of kills that have 0 headshots at all because they haven't played since 2017. And this particular admin has approximately 50 headshots, which means since 2017, he's probably only played a handful of Quakecraft games. And it just so happens that he was at the right place at the right time, and he actually listened to the non-account that was typing madly away in chat about their friends' false bans. To this day, he is still my favorite admin because of that. I decided to not mention him by name because I don't want you guys going to go messaging him and trying to get yourselves unbanned, because what happened is incredibly lucky. To be clear, I haven't had any contact with this admin since then, so I cannot get you unbanned, and I also do not recommend going and harassing Hypixel staff to get yourselves unbanned. So yeah, those have been all my bans since my time on Hypixel. Other than that, I've never had any mutes or any other sort of infractions, so I guess you could say I've been pretty fortunate to have been able to get myself unbanned twice. I only actually had to wait the full ban period for a single one of those bans, and it was only a week. But let me know if you guys have experienced anything like this, or just any kind of funny stories surrounding bans in general. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed me talking about my bans and also how lucky I am, be sure to drop a like and a sub if you haven't already. This is the first video I've done like this where I recorded the audio and the gameplay separately, so let me know whether you liked or disliked it like this. And yeah, that's just about it. Thanks guys for watching. Goodbye.